You may have tried baking macarons and you may have failed over and over and over again. Well, don't worry because I have too. After baking thousands of macarons, I decided it was finally time to figure some things out, like what causes macarons to fail the most often? How can I master the most important macaron baking techniques like making stiff peak meringue or macaronaging so that way I get perfect macarons every single time? Why do macarons crack or wrinkle after they're baked? Is it possible to achieve full macaron shells without those pesky hollow pockets inside? This course will answer all of those burning questions and more. This macaron course is the most inclusive and well-researched class on the market. Through hundreds and hundreds of hours researching, testing, and practicing, I have finally cracked the code to the science behind macarons. This course will cover the fundamentals that no one is teaching. Sure, you can find any macaron recipe online, but those recipes aren't teaching you the important baking techniques. Macarons are a technique-based dessert, meaning there's no one singular recipe that can guarantee you perfect macarons. Rather, you must master the technique in order to bake flawless macarons. Throughout this course, you will master the fundamentals of macaron baking. Let me show you what I mean by walking you through the course outline.
Welcome to the Macaron Baking Experience course. I want to show you what it will look like once you get into our course platform. So the course is first going to start out with this welcome module. This is just a quick welcome to the course. I hope you enjoy it. Next, you'll have a video, a little bit about me, who I am, and a little bit more about my culinary background. Then we're going to go into how the course works. This will give you a quick overview of all 3 modules so you know kind of what to expect. Then we have this looking for extra support tab. And this is important because it's going to give you a link to join our Macaron Baking Experience Facebook group. This Facebook group is going to be super important because it's going to give you a chance to ask any questions if you're having trouble throughout the course. Definitely join this and feel free to ask me any questions that you run into so that way we can make sure your macarons turn out perfectly. Next, we have a glossary. These are just some terms that you'll see throughout the course. This will be especially helpful if you're brand new to making macarons. Take a look at it and then you can always refer back to it. Okay, next we're hopping over to Module 1. We are starting out with some basics. So Module 1 is all about the formula for perfect macarons. So this is kind of going to be your guide that's going to walk you through everything you need to know in order to make perfect macarons. We're starting out by some basics. What are macarons? You need to know a little bit more about kind of the terms that we'll use as we're talking throughout the course, as well as different types of meringue and different ingredients. Next, we need to start out by actually knowing what you want to get when you bake up macarons. So here we'll walk through exactly what qualities you want to look for in your macaron shells. Then we'll go over some basics of macaron ingredients as well as equipment that you need. I have all of the equipment that I use linked here, so it makes it super easy if you need to purchase any additional supplies. Next, we'll do a quick overview of how to make macarons so that way you know what to expect within the course. Lesson 1.6 is really important because this is where we're starting to break down all of the main steps and techniques that you need to master in order to make macarons. Many people don't understand that making macarons, they have to learn the actual techniques that go into the shells. So all of these continuing lessons from 1.6 down to 1.18 are going to teach you the techniques that you'll actually need to learn. Now, I won't go through all of these because you can kind of see a breakdown of what they are here, but I'll highlight some of my favorite lessons. How to make meringue for macarons. This is a really important step. You can see this is a pretty beefy video at 26 minutes, but it's going to explain to you everything you need to know about French, Italian, and Swiss meringue. So this will be super helpful. Another step people struggle with is how to properly macaronage. So this video is going to teach you everything about the do's of macaronaging as well as the don'ts. So throughout all of these videos, we are going to not only show you what to do, but also what not to do. So that way you can avoid those before you even start making macarons. All right. And then at the end of this lesson, I'll show you, of course, how to fill and mature your macarons, how to store them. This 1.19 lesson is going to be helpful because you can have the video playing as you're actually cooking in your kitchen. Okay, next, let's move along to module 2, which is all about troubleshooting your macaron problems. Throughout module 1, you learned about the techniques, but inevitably when you bake up macarons, you're probably going to mess up from time to time. So here I have all of the different ways that you could possibly mess up your macarons. And if for some reason you run into issues that you don't see here, you can always pop those issues into the Macaron Baking Facebook community and I'll help you troubleshoot there. But you'll see in each of these lessons that at the top, it explains what problem you may be having. And I'll give a short description so you can see, oh, does that fit my problem? I'll also give you a photo. Remember, your photo may not look exactly like this, but it will help you kind of identify what issue you're having. And then, most importantly, I give you a list of all of these possible solutions that you'll want to look at to determine how to fix your problem. Solution number 1 is going to be probably the most common issue that I see. And solution all the way at the bottom, which for here is number 7, is going to probably be the least common, but again, you may be doing it. So all of these modules are going to help with that. Macaron with no feet, wrinkled macarons, speckled or splotchy macarons, and some of them even have multiple photos to help you really identify which problem you're having. Moving along to module 3, this is extra credit. These are some age-old baking questions that I've seen in the Macaron baking community and things that people want to learn. So I wanted to include them. Things like, are aging your egg whites really necessary? The secret to no rest macarons, which will be really helpful if you want to sell your macarons. How to achieve vibrant colored shells. I know this is really helpful if you have white colored macarons or jet black. So check that out. And then I also wanted to include a lesson on how to pipe uniquely shaped macarons. So if you want to make like flower or heart shapes. I also have some instructions for chocolate macaron shells, as well as some of my favorite piping tips. So that way you can make some really fun designs with your macarons. This extra credit module is something you'll want to take on only after you've mastered the basics in this module 1. So keep that in mind as you're going through the course. I also have a few bonuses. So you'll get some macaron circle templates that you can download. You'll get holiday templates. I have Easter eggs, pumpkins, stars, hearts. For those of you that sell macarons, I also wanted to give you a video of how to photograph and then edit those photos so that way you can take perfect macaron marketing photos. And finally, if there are any other recipe developers out there, we have a whole section on how to develop a macaron recipe from scratch and what kind of results you'll get if you use different ratios of all of the ingredients.
Not only will you get access to almost 50 lessons in this course, but you'll also have access to our Facebook community if you have additional questions that you need help with after you've dug into the course. This course will not only teach you how to become a better macaron baker, but it will also help you self-diagnose any issues that you run into when baking macarons. And once and for all, you will understand the why behind this mysterious dessert